It's our segment on Wake Up Central where we continue to answer your questions big and small. Now, our question this morning comes from Randy in McGee. What do I need to know about the new Duck Stamp Modernization Act? Well, Randy, that is a great question. Arkansans know our state offers some of the best duck hunting in the world, but there was a big change hunters need to know ahead of the next waterfowl season. The Duck Stamp Modernization Act of 2023 was signed into law by President Biden in December with bipartisan support led by Senator John Boozman.
Game and Fish has been working with Senator Boozman's office to get this in the works for quite some time, so we're very happy about it.
Trey Reed with Arkansas Game and Fish says previous to this act, duck hunters could only use the electronic receipt for their purchase for up to 45 days, while the physical stamp was mailed to them.
But it'll be available nationwide going forward, starting next duck season. Instead of that being good for 45 days, you know, the code on your license as opposed to the physical stamp, it'll be good all season long. You won't have to carry a physical duck stamp.
Now, if you're a little old school and prefer to possess the physical stamp, no worries. However, you may have to wait to physically receive it if you buy electronically.
If you buy the electronic stamp, you won't receive the paper stamp until March after duck season has ended. So you will have it to put in your collection, but you won't have it in your physical possession until after duck season ends.
As for the beginning of next season, now duck hunters don't have to worry about forgetting that little stamp at the house before heading to the duck blind.
I'm very excited about it going forward. There may be some resistance among some folks, but again, you will ultimately get that paper license to add to your collection or to keep as a keepsake or whatever.
Our question this morning comes from Steve in Conway. What's the biggest buck ever killed here in Arkansas? Well, Steve, that is a great question. We are in the thick of deer season here in Arkansas, and every hunter hopes to land a big buck they will remember forever. But what about the biggest ever landed here in the natural state? Trey Reed with Arkansas Game and Fish says that really depends.
So when we say the biggest deer in Arkansas, first we have to say, what are we talking about? I mean, there could be a big bodied deer, you know, but I think most of the time people are talking about the antlers on the bucks.
The Game and Fish measure deer by the Boone and Crockett system with two ways in which antlers are measured.
Both typical and non-typical. And typical is what we think about. They're symmetrical, 5 points this side, 5 points this side, or 4 and 4. A non-typical are these kind of gnarly. They may not be symmetrical. There's a lot of kickers and stickers and drop tines and different points.
So, who holds the record for typical and non-typical deer killed here in Arkansas?
Our state record typical is actually pretty new. It was shot in 2018 by William Lloyd in Lee County, and the total number of inches, 201/8 inches. And our state record non-typical is 238 inches, 1999 Billy Dooley, and that was taken in Prairie County.
And if you are a deer hunter out there still hoping for a shot at the record books, Reed says there is no better place than Arkansas to gun for it.
Want bigger bucks, they're doing things to grow bigger bucks, allowing them to live longer primarily, and we're seeing it in Arkansas's deer. We have more record Boone and Crockett deer, record book deer in Arkansas than most states in the southeastern U.S.
This question this morning comes from Courtney in Cabot asking, why can't I find an at-home flu test like the COVID test? Well, Courtney, as Hayden would say, that's a great question.
It is the season of giving, and unfortunately, it is also the season of giving each other a cold, COVID, or the flu. Of course, vaccines are your best bet at fighting the flu. However, if you believe that you have the flu, can you pick an at-home test up just like a COVID test? Ann Pace with Kavanaugh Pharmacy has your answer.
As of right now, you cannot get at-home tests. I have seen that there have been multiple companies working on it because it's very similar to the at-home COVID test. But right now, they are not available for an over-the-counter purchase like an at-home COVID test would be.
If you are showing flu symptoms but are hoping to avoid making that official doctor's appointment, there is a solution.
Flu testing, you can go and get a flu test. A lot of pharmacies are able to do it using the same technology that we are able to do COVID and strep testing. And so you can make an appointment on pharmacies' websites or walk in if that's a possibility to get a flu test. Takes about 15 minutes.
Another good note, if you've already had the flu this season, that does not mean you're good to go for the rest of the season.
multiple different strains of the flu. There's A strains and B strains. So a common myth is if you get the flu once, you can't get it again that season. So that's incorrect.
The good news, however, if you have not been vaccinated for the flu yet, it is not too late.
Don't forget about just getting your flu shot yourself so you can help protect the people around you so you don't get the shot and then be around family members or people who maybe have decided not to get the flu shot. Get it for yourself so you can help protect others as well.
Our question this morning comes from Keith in Carlisle. Who has the most high school football state championships in Arkansas? Well, Keith, that is a great question. After another season of blood, sweat, and tears, it is once again time to crown a new crop of high school football state champions. Over the next 2 weekends at War Memorial Stadium, 14 teams competing for 7 state titles, ranging from the biggest classification, 7A, to 8-man football. But who has the most titles in state history? The Arkansas Activities Association has been tracking high school football here in the Natural State for over a century, dating all the way back to the first champion, Fort Smith Northside, in 1905. Funny enough, there is no record of who won the title in 1906, but 1907 would be the start of the most historical high school dynasty in the state, Little Rock Central. 116 years after capturing their first championship, the Tigers currently stand at 31 state titles. In fact, it's a record that has a chance to stand for quite some time. The closest schools are Fort Smith Northside with 14, Pulaski Academy with 11, and El Dorado, Greenwood, and Pine Bluff with 10 each. Our question this morning comes from Tony in Benton. Here's the question for you. How do I determine my millage rate? Well, Tony, that is a great question. The month of November means election season. Now, during election season, you've probably heard or seen many times votes on a millage increase. So to get down to the basics, we spoke to Saline County Communications Director Trevor Valines.
So a millage is basically a mechanism that we use to determine how much property tax to levy.
Those taxes can range from a variety of things.
You've got mills for cities, you've got mills for counties, and you've got mills for school districts.
Valines says the numbers can get a little confusing, but there's a good way to break them down.
A mill is 1/1000th of a dollar, so 1 mill would be 0.001, 10 mills would be 0.01, 50 mills would be 0.05.
If you're a resident of Saline County, like Tony, there is an easy way to check the numbers depending on what town you live in.
We've got a nifty tool on our website. If you go to salinecollector.ar.gov, we've actually got a rate sheet that breaks it down for every city, every school, and of course us here in Saline County.
And the last bit of advice from Valines, make sure you do your research before hitting the polls so you know exactly what you're voting for.
Find out what the mill is, were they trying to either keep it at or raise it to or lower it, find out the facts on it.
So appreciate that graphic, Hayden.
Kind of explains it a little bit, simplifies it, yeah. Well, November, it's election season. You hear about millages. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it feels like every town, every county that we have. But
and they're important.
Very, very important too. Of course, they determine so much in a city or a town or a county, but that's a little simplification of kind of break it down. When you hear about those percentage points, you go, okay, a mill is
right, and it all adds up when you get collectively that many people paying, not very much, not even a cent.
Just trying to simplify it for you. Well, there you go.
You did it. Thank you. You helped a lot of people, especially if it's election season.